Say when.
When?
When. Hi, this is
Is
Beth.
there a love? Oh, whoops. No.
Yes, I didn't want to interrupt the start of the session.
I'm leaving this in.
This is Beth.
No.
This is Beth. Welcome to GURPS Wars. Homebrew GURPS Star Wars. We are doing the logistics trio who have once again been sent into a situation. Well, it got more of a situation than they were sent into. I have with me Crash and Ellie and Io, and they're going to tell me what happened last time, or possibly someone will dramatically read the notes I pasted in the Discord.
The PCs, apprentices of Dark Shardanak, are sent to Nalchaga, a somewhat recently colonized hup world that borders what the Empire names its own territory. The Hutts have purchased some supplies, military defenses, from the Empire, and have some complaints that Shardanak once verified. The defenses probably were Hangar Queens, or older ordnance, but the contract did allow for not up-to-date Imperial tech. Imagine, if you will, a kazoo chorus playing a legally distinct from the Star Wars theme track behind me as I'm saying this. The kazoo chorus...
The Imperial March, actually.
The kazoo chorus is entirely staffed by Jawas.
Being conducted by a Jawa. Occasional explosions happen in the background.
No, those are saved for the finale. However,
All right.
the world, as Darth Shardanak will note, has areas where Sith have reported a dark force concentration. It is unfortunate that the Hutts won't allow the Empire to explore these areas, but the planet is wretched enough that only mysteries and ancient knowledge really care. I care. The Hutts require that all non-Hutt spacecraft land at their starport, and passengers take hover trains to appropriate locations. The one that the PCs can catch first to the location is a cargo plus passengers train. ... And then we pan down from the starscape to a train
A disaster area.
A train that, like most plots in any of our games, is off the rails. Which is what I named our previous episode, by the way.
Off the rails?
Yes.
Excellent. Excellent. Yes, disaster, because you were riding along in a car and then someone basically lunged for the door that goes between cars, and got grabbed by the force, but threw something out the door that went under the tracks, and, well, the train derailed. It's sad.
And if I recall, what we've done is we left Sen, the one with Bloodlust, with the Saboteur to keep them safe.
Mm-hmm. Uh-huh.
The Saboteur has been Sith mind tricked, not Jedi mind tricked. Off-brand Jedi mind.
Indeed. Very off-brand.
Yes. It depends on who you ask, which one is the off-brand. Into thinking that we are an ally. Don't know how long that'll last. We found the conductor over there, and over there, and a lot of them over there on that boulder over there. Mostly the cranial cavity over there on the boulder.
Uh-huh.
That's what you get for not wearing a seatbelt when you're on a train, apparently.
Uh-huh. Uh-huh. The secondary conductor apparently ran off somewhere.
Yes. And
according to the passenger who did not.
And Tuxa and an older gentleman with a slightly wounded ankle. And Tuxa is fine. And Tuxa only took 6 points of damage from everything.
The train car tipping over stuff falling on you. You know, the usual.
It's okay. And Tuxa's fall was broken by the train, and then Tuxa broke the fall of the seat, and then the seat broke the fall of somebody else, possibly Sen.
It was a little chaotic.
Yes. Well, and Tuxa and the older gentleman are out looking around. I went into the engineering car to free a passenger whose seatbelt was fastened, but it was jammed in place. Lightsabers are wonderful utility tools. It's a Swiss Army knife of plasma, fueled by a force-sensitive crystal.
Don't use the toothpick.
The toothpick is so effective, you only need to use it once in your life.
Mm-hmm.
I have a gif of the Swiss Army knife blade, by the way. There we go. We've seen this before, but it's worth bringing up. And then I cut a hole in the wall that was not originally a wall, but trained sideways. Everything did go sideways. Literally.
Yep.
I appreciate this. And we stepped out, and then all the animals in the livestock car started freaking out, and that's where we ended it.
Mm-hmm. Oh, does anyone care to know why the animals are freaking out and the remaining goat, sheep, whatever things are screaming and all of the bird things are fluttering around and flying away from the livestock car? I mean, you can leave it alone if you want.
I was kind of assuming that the reason was because the train crashed and they all got spooked and released.
Yeah, but they're being more, instead of the sort of meh, wow, it's like and things are flying away quickly.
Yeah, there was a bit of a delay between the train crash and when they are all really freaking out. So
yeah, y'all have been wandering around for a little bit, so
pardon me, Miss
you can Manda.
Well, pardon me, Miss Manda. I think that I might end up having additional use for my, as you called it, fire sword. I hope not. But beggars can't be choosers. And I walk off towards the animals.
All right. Let me just get my description here. Description.
And yes, I am definitely walking away from Entuxa, who is injured and probably can't keep pace with me. Because, dagnabbit, we had a three-way split, and then Ellie said, Entuxa would have joined back up with you. And we can't have that.
Zanoni is going to stop sitting on that rock and see if they can leave the NPC in the care of another NPC. Because otherwise they're just going to be stuck watching the prisoner.
You could have them come along. Because we took the only other NPC you knew about with us.
No, you didn't.
Yeah,
we did.
The other, and Tuxa had Ekiel Kenso, who was also in the car along with you.
You didn't take the prisoner with you.
No, you didn't take the prisoner. You took the other NPC.
Yeah, there were two NPCs
right, so you
in the
didn't
car
take
with
the...
us. We took one, left one with you.
Ah, okay. Yeah. Now I see what you're saying. And I see that Manda has been moved over to where the prisoner is on the map, so I am assuming that Manda is now watching the prisoner.
She's a little bit baffled by this. She's kind of a civilian. I mean, she's
Does
wearing
she have a weapon?
Nope.
If he tries to do
Zanoni,
anything, use the bucket of blood.
There is no bucket of blood.
On the map,
Zanoni hands Manda the prisoner's gun and says, if he tries anything foolish, shoot him.
Why am I Who is this that I need? Why is there a prisoner?
Apparently, he derailed the train.
Well, she holds the weapon upon him.
And Sononi wanders off, all attempts at diplomacy completely abandoned, to also go investigate the panicking animals.
And Tuxa?
I'll hobble along.
Just going to take a little tiny glance at something here. No, I do not want it in that mode. I want it in this mode.
Everything was black and white, so I wasn't sure I could actually. Everything's in black and white, so I wasn't sure I could actually change anything on the
Oh,
map.
just a moment. Let me make the map. Figure out how to. No, I don't want that one. I want lighting choices. Transition to daylight. Has it turned into not black and white yet?
No.
Nope.
One moment.
Hold on.
Lighting control. Well, I was just going to draw a gigantic light source, so unless you got it crashed.
There we go.
Color?
Color.
Yes. So
Color!
the tornado picked us up and has sent us to Oz.
Yay!
Ignore.
No,
the
looks like
GM
you're still in
behind the
Kansas.
Curtain. Ignore the GM behind the curtain. The other GM is the one running this one, not the one that made it be Oz.
Not
This
the one who had
can't
to
be us,
Technicolor.
only the sheep is green.
That's a sheep of a different color.
Anyway, that telekinesis other roll that I apparently made by 7 is Sen attempting to assist Antux in not having to put too much weight on the leg.
Making it by 7 is going to definitely help with not putting weight on the leg. And Tuxa, being a Sith, can resist if she desires. And if you want to be cranky and go, no, no, no. Put not your helpful telekinesis on me. Or, not, whichever.
I'm gonna try like the optics of a Sith leaning on a Twi'lek, but I'm not going to complain too much if the Twi'lek is doing it voluntarily.
Well, you're both apprentices to the same master, so
Yeah, I know, but
getting along is optional.
I'm not going to complain about it.
Oh no, some of the animals are escaping.
I mean, yes, the bird ones are and whatnot.
And the cat ran off.
Anyway,
Photos everywhere.
well, yes, the cat's definitely run off for reasons. So the car got tipped over, obviously. The door to it is now on what's basically the top. It's partly open. Give me some hearing rolls.
Oh, wonderful.
Perception?
Perception,
Oh, no,
hearing.
Hearing is...
Yeah.
The exact same number for me.
Yes. Sometimes people have acute hearing.
Mine's kind of average.
Made by 5, made by 4, and Tuxa. Made by 6. There's something that's clomping around in there, maybe, that the animal screaming has died down, somewhat concerningly, really. Something is moving around in there, and there are sort of squelchy noises. A bit like, someone's took a cat, the little loth cat things eating wet food or something.
What do I roll for my Sith danger sense?
You roll your perception, I believe. Actually, you roll your IQ, if I recall. Danger sense is an IQ one, I think.
I just made it.
Wait, are we rolling intelligence now?
If you want to roll a danger sense one,
Oh, we are rolling danger sense. Okay. Sorry, I was briefly
Perception.
distracted because someone was,
Actually, it's a perception roll. I was wrong. But yes. There is certainly something Ron and Sinoni feel, and Tuxa may if she wants to, not safe in there.
Fascinating. And for the record, I would have also just made my perception roll. It's the same number.
I figured it probably was.
All right. So I'm definitely going
If
to
you want to
climb
get-
up the side of this car.
Okay, give me a climbing roll. If you don't have climbing, you can always do a bit of telekinesis other to just sort of jump up because, You're
I'm
force
the
users.
only
Not
one
other.
here with climbing. I am definitely going to climb.
Climbing. Right, self, not telekinesis other, telling itself.
I'm
Climbing.
not going to climb.
And you missed it by 3.
May I try telekinesis other to cover for the fact that I'm doing
Jump.
a bad job of this?
Yes. Or you can
Self,
actually for
not
you,
other.
self. Yeah, do telekinesis self.
Oh.
Telekinesis self.
Telekinesis self is 1 higher, which means I still missed that one by 1.
If you want to, you can spend fatigue to make that roll retroactively work. It's 2 fatigue per bonus to the die.
May I flavor how I fail this?
You may.
Okay, so we've already established this car is on its side. So
Yep.
I'm presuming, I could be wrong, but I'm approaching from the side that was the undercarriage.
Yep.
And there's like pipes and stuff down there. So I try to use one of the pipes to shimmy up it, but it's greased. So I get halfway
Obviously.
up and I just sort of start sliding back down at the same speed that I'm climbing up.
and
And-
sort of moves to support Antuxa physically and is panicking slightly and going, push, push, no.
Said their TK by 3. So your climb and sliding is somewhat arrested, so you don't at least tumble off. You're a little
All
bit
right,
greasy now, or
So
something.
what happens is I slide gently back down to ground level, having exerted myself a little bit, gathered a fresh coat of protective grease on my hands, and thoroughly embarrassed myself in front of my fellow apprentices and the NPCs. There's no way I'm going to be able to pass this off as I meant to do that.
Fortunately, the NPCs do not actually seem to be paying much attention to you because they're keeping an eye. Well, the one with the gun is keeping an eye on the prisoner, and the other one is just sort of looking around somewhat concerned fashion.
Fair and valid.
Do people want to try climbing up again? Whatever is in there is still making short noises.
So, in favor versus opposed, me just cutting this wall open.
The downside of cutting an entrance is it might end up being an exit.
And then I get to stab something.
I mean, you're not wrong.
And our prisoner turned out to be sad and pathetic and also necessary, possibly.
Yes. Well, would you like to see what you're going to stab before you stab it?
So I'll cut a small hole first.
I'm not going to stop you.
Just poke my saber through a little bit. Take a peek.
Try not to light anything on fire. Much.
If Antuxa wants to try to stop me, I am not doing it as I say it.
And Tuxa, do you wish to be a voice of reason? Or is this reasonable?
Frankly, I think it's reasonable.
Excellent. I poke a hole in the wall with my lightsaber. Carefully.
The assorted cables and pipes and the still slightly sparking hover generators that are not actually connecting with the rails they're supposed to hover over. How big a hole are we talking?
I'm going to try to find a bit that doesn't have any electronic bits directly there and poke a hole about the size of my fist.
Okay, just sort of a little zip with your saber.
Little eye
Okay,
hole.
all right, that's not you're not being panicked and trying to rush this hugely. So you successfully are you like sticking the saber the whole way through? Or just
No,
enough to
just the tip to I don't want to stick it the whole way through and stab who knows what.
Okay.
I would like to stab something, but I'd like to stab the correct thing.
Give me a lightsaber roll just to be what's the right word? To see how graceful this is being.
I made it by 6.
You brandish the lightsaber, and rather like Zorro, who does not exist in the galaxy, probably, you do a little O. And
If they're like
the
Zorro, they're
part that-
carving a backwards S.
I
Well,
am
yeah,
not
that-
carving a backwards S. Also, I've met like 3 people named Zorro. I don't know what you're talking about.
Okay, that's fair. That's very fair. You can carve your little S, and with a make by 6, the amount of teak required is negligible. You can make sure that the thing falls outward if you desire when you withdraw your saber.
Excellent.
I figure make by 6 does that. Okay, are you going
I
to
have
put your...
uncorked the train car.
I love that special effect sound.
Who wants to look through? Should I look through?
I mean,
Do one of you want to look through?
you're the one who did the hard work.
Well, I guess that I attempt to look through.
Okay. Give me a vision roll. If you have night vision, then that will subtract penalties.
I have night vision.
You do? That's excellent. Okay, give me a vision roll.
I have night vision 3 if it matters what the number is.
It probably does. Thank you.
That is a failure.
It's dark in there. You can make out some mounds of animals, probably the sheepoid things, goatoid things. They were fluffy, and you don't see anything except animals, probably shapes lying still and toppled feed and water troughs and bales of hay or whatever. Space hay. You can certainly still
Why
hear the
does
crunch,
Rayon
crunch, crunch.
have night vision and Antuxa not?
It's not
I'm
impossible for Sith not to have night vision. Sometimes they don't.
I traded my ability to understand things by touching them for night vision. All things considered, I think I got the better deal.
You're not the one with glowing eyes.
Sometimes glowing eyes are a problem at night.
I believe
And Tooks
is
are probably-
for the aesthetic.
Right, I cannot see anything in there.
Neither can
And
I.
apparently neither can you.
Well,
Apparently the hole is just not in a good place.
I see some big black fluffy shapes.
They're not moving. It smells like blood and animal manure in there, as you can tell, because, well, there's a hole in it.
I know
This is shaping up much too much like our last mission.
It smells like a certain swamp. What a wonderful smell you found. I'm going to try climbing up the side of this thing again. Actually, I'm going to try to force jump up it.
Do any of
Okay.
you have a glow rod?
If you mean lightsaber, yes. Otherwise, no.
No, I do not. Do not throw your lightsaber in there.
If
With
I
TK's
do, I'm
self,
going down
this will
with
get you up.
Yes, I made it by 6, so now I'm on the top, and I can look down through the open door, I guess.
Give me another perception roll.
I've only looked
Vision
at that
roll,
stat like
precisely.
5 or 6 times today, so why am I having trouble finding it? And yes, the irony is not lost
Made by
on me
2.
that I was having trouble finding my perception roll. Thank you for not mentioning it.
Therefore, you had to.
And we all heard the GM laugh. We all heard it.
Inspiration.
That's not how this campaign is run, but in any case, I had the button. I had to
If I
press
ever, indeed, one of these days I'll figure out how to do that inspiration thing. Maybe I'll make it like a one-time reroll, which makes sense because that's what inspiration is. I could do that. Anyway, you see a bar of light from where the doors were open. There's definitely blood in here, and there's definitely most of the thing you would think that most of the injuries would be like broken legs or concussions or something, but it looks like a few of these sheep have had goat. They're fluffy. They have 3 horns and space sheep. Something has gone through their, taking bites out of some of them. There's chomp and rips with. Well, we will minimize the gore, but let's just say there's more gore, and it looks like a predator was in there. Or maybe they go get crazed and start eating each other, hamster babies do, or something.
Well, I'm seeing more of pretty much the same. A lot of blood. Something's been chewing on the space sheep. That's lovely. Now, you said the door was only partially open, right?
Yep.
I'd like to open it up the rest of the way if possible.
I mean, it's open enough that you could squeeze in if you wanted to.
I don't intend to go down there. I intend to open up the door the rest of the way.
All right. Are you doing this by trying to drag it? By trying to see if the electronics for opening it still work? By
I am going
shoving
to
it with
show
the force? All right. And how are you showing off?
By making my Oh, that's telling you to self. But I made that roll by... I clicked on the wrong thing. I made that roll by 3. But if I click telekinesis other like I meant to do, I actually made the roll by 2. Or you could just rule as a GM that in fact I tried to open the door and instead threw myself off the cart.
No.
I won't do that. That would be silly. You are shoving at the door and it is moving a little bit, but it's kind of wedged, and you detect that this
Squadron.
would be a telekinesis other. No, wrong one. You detect that this would require a telekinesis other roll to be made by about 5, which means that you need another 3 points of telekinesis other to succeed, which could come from you or from one of your compatriots. They can help.
Internalize this knowledge, then pull my head out of the fourth wall that I seem to have broken through.
You either need to do more effort or you need more people.
I walk over to the edge of the wall / ceiling, depending on your point of view. From a certain point of view, it's one or the other. And I say, The door seems to be stuck a bit. Little help?
Wonderful. Do you plan on doing something that would, Sonone sort of gestures at the ground on which they are standing, and then gestures at the top of the train car, which used to be the side of the train car, on which Ran is currently standing.
I realize that I'm talking to somebody who does not have telekinesis self or climbing skill.
Yeah. I have
Well,
acrobatics, but I don't want to try to acrobatics my way up a greased pipe.
you're just saying that because I looked like I was having so much fun. Right. Well, take a flying leap. I'll spot you. I do not spot you.
I am going to make an acrobatics roll for the flying leap just because it's funny.
Well, you made it
Made
by
it
the
by
same
2.
number that I missed it.
Do I end up like part way up the thing clinging?
If this doesn't
No,
work,
you made it your success by
Okay.
2. I think you
I
probably
was willing to spend
you-
fatigue if this didn't work.
you grab on, you find a thing that works perfectly well to jump up off of, you grab on, and okay, you are somewhat dangling from the edge, but not in a way that you can't get your foot into one of these pipes if you want to risk that they're a little greased, and shove your way up the rest of the way.
I wiped a lot of the grease off, thank you very much.
Mm.
Which is why I'm
And
not holding
Tux,
out a
is there
hand
anything
to
that you're
help
doing?
send up the rest of the way.
Valid. And Tuxa, you're still down on the ground.
Yes.
You have not gone to look in the spy hole, unless you want to.
No, I figure if they need me, they'll call me.
Just going to stand around and wait for the screaming to start again?
I am frankly still a little slightly dazed from being down 5 hit points.
Mm.
I thought it was 6 before. Oh, you did healing. Okay.
I
Healed.
healed myself for 1.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yes, I have these notes. Yeah, Ran and Sin are down 1 hit point. You should be down 1 hit point because you people got injured and have not healed yourself yet. So I'm going to just do that.
That was.
Oh, was I not down 1
Oh,
hit point?
Yes.
You know
Oh, I
what?
was down. I did put it there. Good.
Okay, you did put it there.
I was down
Yes.
2, but I took them out of my fatigue instead of my hit points. Let me.
You should only be down 1, according to my notes.
Okay, well, I'll just put that hit point back then.
Mm-hmm.
With the other hit points.
Yes. I'll keep them all together over here with the rest of the fire.
Okay.
Game. It is a good game. Right. So.
Oh, good.
Is Sen up here or is Sen like dangling off the side?
Zen is sort of very cautiously poking with their boot to see if this thing is greased.
I'm going to try to help
Oh,
Sen the
work,
rest
you
of
can-
the way up.
Okay. I'm sorry, I'm just
Actually-
imagining the image of Sin sort of hanging on without much desperation. It's a pretty good cling and going prod, prod, prod.
Actually, could I
I would
help by saying, right, so 6 inches to the left of your left foot. Yep, up a little bit. There you go. Yep, that's a good spot.
That could work.
Would
Sen
that
can
be-
make it to the top.
Okay.
I will say that this is there are enough bonuses to the roll that with the described actions that Sen can make it to the top without getting a terribly greasy boot. Maybe a little bit on, the very tip there where, oh no, that was a greasy spot, move the boot.
Thank you. I always appreciate our teamwork.
Yes. I'm going to have to look for a rag in a little bit. But, for now, I'm just going to try to not touch anything. Speaking of which, give me a hand with this door. Will you?
All right.
Um,
Made by
well,
4, made by 6. That is a combined total of made of plus 10. You're
the door is
able
no
to
longer.
shove the doors open. No, there's a door.
Look.
It's just been shoved back into
Look,
its little pocket like it's supposed to be.
there's a doorway, but we made it by 10. I'm assuming that there are some hinges that have some issues right now.
Well, the thing is, it's not a hinged open door. It doesn't open outward or inward. It slides. And when the power was mostly cut, the doors locked, like all good Star Wars do, in the locked position, which is kind of weird because they were somewhat open enough that somebody could have slid in if they wanted to. But you have done the Star Wars Force thing where you have grabbed with your mental hands the edge of the door and forced it back. So it's open now. Light streams in. The crunchy, munchy sounds pause.
We did the opposite of this, Jiff.
Yes, you did the opposite of that, where Obi-Wan closes the door.
Closes the door gently. We open the door, not gently. So.
Wham!
Yes.
There was a horrible sound of grinding gears that did not want to be opened.
Well, that's not our problem. However, we're now letting a lot more light into this car. Do we see the thing that was crunching and munching?
Give me vision rolls.
Made it by 3.
Made by 3. Sen?
Let's see. Yeah.
Okay. Sen is obviously not at the right angle to see in appropriately. Let me just move. Yeah, give me half a moment. I want to draw some lines here. Can I make that do a thing? No. Okay, how does that work? Drawing tools. Draw a polygon. Okay, click to add points, double click to finish. Okay. Does everybody see the white line there?
You made a door.
I made the door. Good. Now, having made the door, I will deposit a thing sort of there. Sen is clearly not quite in the right spot to see it. Okay, there's a fallen stall divider or feeding trough. It's unclear. And mostly behind it, there is a humanoid hunched over, seems to be covered. It's smallish. It's a bit larger than a Jawa. It's covered in hair, and it's all kind of grayish, and there's patches of bare skin that is sort of a greenish gray, and it's at the crouched over one of the animals and has like a handful of animal innards in it.
Well,
Clutching a handful of that.
you look delightful. You must be famished. Can we help you?
It shrieks and
Now, use your words.
it shrieks and runs for the back of the train car, which has a slightly opened human-sized door in the back that, actual humans could go in and use, walk through the cattle car, basically. It is not currently opened enough to have been how it got in.
Well, they're fairly impolite, aren't they?
It's run outside of more than, you'll have to crouch down to see what it's doing here.
Oh, I refuse to crouch down. I'm going to walk over here. And I'm going to walk over to here, along the edge. Do I need to make a roll for that?
You're covered in what you call it, grease a bit. So give me a dex roll and don't fail by too much.
I mean, it's mostly my hands, but that's fair. I made it by 3.
You can make. Yes, you can stroll along the base there. And Tuxa hearing made by 9. You certainly heard it shriek, and there is a scrabbling off at the rear door there. I assume people can see the drawing that I made on the edge. Because now...
Now, I don't know exactly where it is. I could see that it was running off in that direction, but I'm assuming its angle was such that I wouldn't have been able to see very well without, like, sticking my head down through the opening, and thus becoming within range of those chompers. So, I'm going to be maybe just a little bit away from the edge over here, and I'm going to cut a Looney Tunes-esque hole. Or at least I'm going to attempt that.
Okay.
I will not get tired of that.
That is fair.
And button, who's got the button?
Success by 1. It's not like... But you're hitting the broad side of a barn. You are cutting your Looney Tunes-esque hole. How big is your hole?
Big enough that if I wanted to jump down through it, I could. That is not my plan, but I'm very much aware that sometimes plans have to change. For example, if Sen fails this dex roll to follow me.
Mm-hmm. If they fail the dex roll, then they can choose to stop and sort of windmill their arms for a while, or ball in if they just want to be down there and, they can pick one. Made by 4, yeah, no problem. You cross the open area there. You walk the balance beam. This is easy. You people are all Sith apprentices.
This is how good we're doing it.
Mm-hmm. And Tuxa has walked around the back of the so obviously seeing everyone heading for that direction and hearing the shriek heading in that direction, has walked around to see, oh, there's a little sideways door here that normally a person could have walked into, and a pair of gray-green hands that with horrible gray-green fur on them are pushing the door open. And because this is Star Wars, it is also a pocket door, so it's basically going crink, 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 crink.
Hmm.
Does Antuxa have anything that they want to do, that she wants to do?
Yes, but I don't know if it'll work.
That's what the dice are for. Oh, interesting. And what mind tricks are you attempting?
You're safe, and we're your friends. You don't need to be frightened.
Interesting. That is certainly a fascinating thing. That was unexpected. Let me take just a moment to quickly glance at some of the notes.
Isn't it great when Ellie does a thing that's so unexpected we have to go back to our notes and go, what the heck?
Yeah, that's about right.
Sorry.
No, don't be
it's
sorry.
great.
That's
Wonderful.
All
it's so
PCs
rare
love
for me
making-
to enjoy it from this side of the GM screen. It's almost as fun.
The creature, which has pulled the door sufficiently open that you can see that it's this humanoid-ish face. It's some really ugly alien from what your perspective, and has staring, glowing, sort of chartreuse eyes. Cannot speak. Chartreuse. Yeah. Greeny yellow in a very unpleasant kind of way that's just sort of staring at you with grave confusion.
Okay.
It is not reacting except to just go stare,
Now, can you talk?
stare,
Staring.
additional staring. It's not clear whether the staring is due to inability to talk or simply it's very, very confused.
Yeah.
You do not have a great deal of emotion sense ability, as I recall, but you have some just from, force abilities, the empathic vibes thing. And I'm not even going to make you roll because the confusion is just rolling off this thing. Ran, you cut a hole in the thing. How big was the hole that you cut again?
Enough that
Ooh, detecting disturbances.
Sen or I could jump through the hole if we really needed to. But I tried to do it far enough away from the edge so that it would be difficult for someone to climb up the wall and be able to reach the hole without climbing across the ceiling a bit.
Okay, and you definitely made that, so I
might be able
will
to put that hole on the map.
That hole?
Never mind, you beat me to it. That is right where I was going to put it.
I beat you to it.
Yes. Although it's not a perfect circle, so it's not a true Looney Tune circle, but that's okay.
It's very difficult to draw a perfect circle when I'm just freehanding it with the
It doesn't
circle
ruin
tube.
The aesthetic at all. It's fine. It's fine.
We'll call it
Go
slightly
into GM mode and
perspective.
fix it. There we go.
You can see the creature has stopped and is just staring out the door that it has open enough that it could try to escape now, probably.
Oh, it opened the door that leads to Antuxa?
Yep.
Oh, that won't do.
At least enough.
I try to close the door.
It's just sitting. It's got its hands on the door still.
That's its problem. It can move its hands or it can lose its hands. I'm okay.
All right. Antuxa, detecting disturbances. You are not detecting anything using the force particularly at this time. The creature itself is a little bit weird in the force.
Okay. That's kind of what I wanted to know.
Made by two.
I don't know if that's enough to close the door that it was opening, but I at least want to move it enough that it can't get through.
The door was sort of broken by forcing it open, so you are dragging it upwards a little bit. And I am going to make another little roll. It snarls at the door moving beneath its hands, shoves down a little bit, rolls poorly, shrieks again, and starts running back towards the other end of the train, apparently. Or at least it's leaving the area.
I sigh heavily.
Well, it was worth a try.
And attempt to backtrack. Does it cross the path of the open door? Or open sunroof at this point?
Give me a moment. I want to check a thing. Yes. In fact, it jumps for the open part there. Yeah, I think it. So you basically see it scrabbling up onto the top edge there.
You know,
Sen, you could.
if they want uppies, I think we could give it uppies.
If you make your telekinesis other roll by enough.
I've been doing this a lot. Sen?
We're releasing it, then.
Well, do you want it to get away?
Not particularly.
I believe we both have a means for corralling it.
I
I've had plenty
am
of fun
going to
recently.
spend a couple fatigue.
I believe that will give you a +2 to your roll.
Uh-huh.
Sen crushes it into a cube.
Uh,
Sen gets a crit success. Made by 10.
Sen crushes it into a cube.
Sen does not crush it into a cube.
How about a rhombus?
What do you wish to do, Sen?
Apparently we are lifting it up. Sen lifts it up.
Midair?
Yep.
It screams, shrieks, flails, and starts. Let me just get back to my character sheet for it. Starts scrabbling at. It's wearing a crude belt of some kind, and it appears to have a knife.
Well, that is fascinating. Well done, Sen. We have a great view of it now. Have you ever known of an uncultured beast wearing a belt and carrying weaponry?
I would like to note that this is a hut planet, and I don't think that this is out of character for the huts.
Fair point.
I'm going to assume
Hello there.
I'm going to assume you're lifting it up high enough that Antuxa can see, probably even being on the ground down there.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah! Leoman's tiny hut planet.
I don't think any of you have a tiny hut with 2 T's.
You cast the spell.
Tiny
you're
the
in
hut?
this small, impenetrable sphere, and except the only sound that escapes from it is, "Ye Jedi." Oh, oh, oh.
I don't think we have Tiny the hut.
No, Tiny is a kobold.
Right.
I can laugh with impunity because no one gets inspiration for it.
You're having fun.
Yes, I am.
I possibly could see it, but what I'm doing is looking over at the bucket and bucket accessories. I mean the passengers.
Where someone has left a bucket. Right. They are all gawping at the thing that has been somewhat visible to them, but it is many feet away from their perspective, and so they are not doing more than looking moderately appalled by this. Or maybe they're just being impressed that someone's levitating it.
And our guy is still being held at gunpoint or whatever it is.
Yeah, although not as effectively as frankly you would prefer, but he's gawping at it too, so
Okay.
I don't suppose you speak basic.
the creature yells, shrieks something.
Use your words. We talked about this.
It throws the knife, which does not land anything remotely resembling near anyone who would get hurt.
Ah, we've all been there, my friend. Well, not
It shrieks
there.
more.
That specific spot, none of us have been. We were all perfectly safe. However, I understand your frustration. There's things that you want. There's things you can't have. There's a bunch of people who are very much interested in having a conversation with you that you're just not courageous enough to have at this time. Ah, yes. I say,
You're trapped up there by, well, us. No, I understand your rage, but I'm not trying to hurt you. If I was trying to hurt you, I would have done it.
making the GM laugh by posting an appropriate GIF.
Yeah. Scrub scruff of the neck, paw, 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 flail, flail, flail. Yeah, that's about... The talking makes it glare. It stops flailing and just sort of goes into a kind of crouch.
Running into the desert isn't going to help. At least not unless you're much better at surviving in deserts than I am.
It doesn't act like it understands what you're saying. It seems to understand that you're talking.
You know, it really is a shame that I'm not going to ask anyone to get within touching distance of it. Because that might be the only way that we get any answers. As we see in Tuxa leaving. I mean, technically going back to the NPCs, but as I talk about touching something, that is definitely not something you want to touch, and Tuxa is moving further and further away, and that amuses me.
Can Sinone try to copy the crouch without dropping it?
You made critical success, so yeah.
Sinone attempts to copy the crouch, and they're still still holding their hand out, not the other way around. That wouldn't make any sense. But they're otherwise sort of trying to copy its body language, trying to convey that they are sympathetic and a friend.
Give me a body language roll.
You're going to need to tell me what the default for that is.
Generally, go with an IQ -5. That seems to be the usual sort of thing, and I can quickly do a lookup on that, though, because I do have...
I'm pretty sure there's...
Per average...
Is this not gesture? Or...
Oh, it would be gestured. Yeah, gesture would probably be better. Let's...
And gesture is an easy skill, so that's a -4.
4. Yeah, -4.
Okay.
Yep. Yeah, go with gesture. Miss by 7.
Oof.
It is possibly no surprise that the thing puts its head up and absolutely howls. It basically is lifting its head, taking a huge breath, and making an extremely loud, penetrating shriek that probably has a great deal of carrying distance.
Hey, quit that. Do you want to start a howl?
What off in the distance? In fact, you do hear some answering noises about the same.
Now see what you've done. And Tuxa, we're going to have company.
You could give me notice. I haven't a thing to wear.
All your fancier outfits are in your luggage.
Based on context,
Which is...
I think you are more finely dressed than the company will be. However,
could someone tell me where I can put our friend down?
Yes, we are working on that. We need to find a location where our new friends here, not that friend, but the other friends, might be able to not be torn to bloody ribbons.
Yeah, I'm going to start escorting them back to the train car.
The passenger one?
Yeah.
You got passenger, you got cargo, you've got livestock, and you've got a
the passenger
engine car. Passenger car. Okay.
Is the passenger car securable?
The one it had windows. It had some broken windows. It had a couple doors on it, one on either end, one on the side.
So it is as airtight as Swiss cheese, is what you're saying.
Yeah, about that.
Was the forward car any better? The one we got what's her
Before or
name out
after I
of?
cut the hole in it?
The engine.
Oh, that's a fair point. The cargo cars probably don't have windows,
Indeed.
and probably, but they'll have larger doors.
Yep.
I think passengers are best bet for right now.
Is this creature...
Unless,
Sorry.
I was just going to say, unless we prefer a single large entrance to multiple small entrances.
That would still give us a choke point as opposed to multiple ingress points.
True. Okay, I'll go for one of the cargo cars. The least damaged one that I can get into.
Okay.
Is our ascent... Sorry. I was going to ask,
Keep
is there
going.
anything else that the creature's wearing besides a belt? You said a belt and a knife. Do they have anything
Nope.
else on them?
Does not appear to be wearing anything else, and fortunately, it is furry enough that you cannot tell if it has an external gender.
I was just going to not think about that.
Sorry, you asked what it was wearing, and it's not.
Yes. Sen, I think for now we might as well just put it back in the car. We need to get ready for the other company.
Sen lowers it back down into the car and takes... I figure Sen probably has, like, a bit of food and water in their belt pouch.
Mm-hmm.
They toss
I was
it down.
saving that chicken a la king for Okay, fine.
Not yours.
It ignores what you have tossed down, leaps up for the edge of the open thing, scrambles out, looks over its shoulder, and hisses in a way that almost sounds like it's laughing, jumps over the edge and runs off into the rocky hills that begin to, that this was like a place that had... Honestly, this would be a good place for an ambush, but it runs off.
Well, now there's two
It's
different
laughing
groups
at
that thought
us.
this was
Now
a
I
good place
kind
for
of
an ambush.
do want to kill it.
Are you
How
going to try and
far
catch
can
it
you
before it
control your
escapes?
lightsaber with telekinesis other?
Or you can try and grab it before it goes out of sight. It's your
Oh yeah, I think
Control
that's
roll.
actually a failed self-control roll.
That is. Thrown weapon lightsaber made by 4. Well, let's see. Do those things take range penalties, do you think?
Do they?
Interesting question. I mean, you're doing it with telekinesis. You're not doing it as a weapon. Well, I'd say it probably gets a dodge at least. Dodge, dodge, dodge. Where do they keep the dodge here? Where they keep defenses? Where do they keep defenses? Change it.
If it looks anything like our sheet,
Hmm? It
it
should.
is over next to hit location, encumbrance, move, and dodge.
Oh, there it is. It would help if I had the character sheet opened far enough to see that. Misses by 2. I think you have hit it. I think you should roll for your lightsaber damage.
It would be helpful if... Oh, there it is. Wow.
Nice. Let me just double check something in my note about these little critters.
What's the number in parentheses?
I think that's how much armor. That's the armor divisor.
Ah,
Okay, you dadgum little critters. Why do I not have a extra description of you little suckers? Tra-la-la. Tra-la-la. La-la-la. Yeah, I don't think it's going to have any... Well, all right. So, let's see... Where were we? 15. 15 burning damage.
Did you think you were taking advantage of my kind and forgiving nature?
You have one of those. I mean, yes, did you?
I tried to give it food and water. I tried to be nice to a prisoner.
The player thinks you tried to give it an MRE. That's antagonism. Rand would not think this. Rand would agree. Oh, yes, you did try to give it aid.
It failed its dodge. The lightsaber cut through its side. It reels. It falls. It clutches the gaping, fortunately cauterized, yay lightsabers, wound in its side and starts scrambling on three limbs to try to get out of sight as best it can. It is not moving quickly, but it is still moving, which is kind of impressive because you definitely cut through a lot of its side there.
Can we assume that part of the whole telekinesis other role for throwing a lightsaber has it come back to us?
It's thrown weapon lightsaber.
It's a skill. I think that I'm going to ask for another TK roll to make sure that it comes back to your hand and doesn't just sort of keep going.
And doesn't come back.
Yeah, it comes back to your hand. Yeah, exactly. Okay. You catch it properly. Sen is rearmed.
I think that was my turn.
Indeed. So, let's see. Now I have to figure out more theater of the mind thing because I do not have enough train cars for this, which is direly annoying to me. I'm supposed the GM could lay hands on a train car quickly.
Actually, we've been playing for almost an hour and a half.
About an hour? We should, in that case, we should take a break and I should look for a map for myself. Thank you. Excellent. Let's take a break.
One. But yeah, let's take a break. We're back.
No. Okay. You heard everyone into the cargo train car, I recall. They appear to be willing to be herded. Even the one who was going to sabotage the train apparently was not in cahoots.
Oh, good to know.
So,
well, no one was supposed to get hurt, and also no one was supposed to be eaten.
Yeah. And also you people have lightsabers, and frankly, no one wants to mess with the people who have the lightsabers. It's kind of a thing. Even people who don't know the difference between a Sith and a Jedi tend to be a little bit twitchy around the laser swords.
Technically,
as you heard, technically, the lethal glow sticks. Don't touch the shiny end.
What?
Rave.
Are we in initiative? Does anyone else want to attack the critter?
It is limping away. The people who have ran would have been close enough to try to chase after it if desired.
I wish to use my movement to assist with getting everyone into the cargo car, but I'm not opposed to using telekinesis other to throw a heavy rock at it.
Give me a telekinesis other roll. There's enough debris and heavy rocks made by two.
Not all of us have the ability to throw a lightsaber well.
Deadgum, you wretched thing. Why do you come up too small for me to easily roll the dodge? Wow, it's failing its dodge rolls. Give me with a success by 2, give me a 2d -5. And yes, I'm making up things based on vibes.
Well,
A point
could
of
be worse. I could
damage.
have healed it.
You clipped it. No. It's a minimum of knocking, knocking the wind out of things. And that's more damage.
As a GM, I know this. The joke remains.
There is that. But it made its health roll. Okay. It reels, and in the direction that you hit it, basically you knocked it to the one side, and it does not course correct very much. It just keeps scrambling for shelter. Making thin, whiny, as well it should, as making thin, whiny noises. Sen, are you going to run after it, or is your bloodlust sufficiently sated by giving it what honestly might wind up being a lethal blow?
I believe that I am required to see it dead,
Okay.
given the failed self-control roll.
Given the failed self-control roll, if you want to make another self-control roll at -3, you can. Because that was enough of damage that it might indeed take it out.
I will make another self-control roll. Ew.
Missed by 7.
Did it go around to me and Tuxa had her turn? Sorry, my brain
Tuxa.
was being...
And Tuxa, are you
Tuxa
doing...
is taking people to the cargo car.
Okay. Ran through a rock, is now, headed off to help take people to the cargo car, or...
If I see Sen...
What was the first thing you said? Oh, okay. I apologize. I thought that was directed at me.
Oops, sorry. Ran. I meant Ran. Did I say Tuxa? I could have.
You said ran, but my brain interpreted that as a verb, not as a name.
Oh.
Which is why the first so ran through a rock made very little sense in this context.
Yeah, don't run
strong
through
am
rocks.
I with the force, but not that strong.
Sorry.
I will say...
Ran. You threw a rock.
Yes, I threw a rock. It did a thing. Sen is still filled with bloodlust. I will say that if I see Sen run off into the distance when there's howling beasts out there, I am probably going to, once again, sigh heavily and follow Sen.
What are my range penalties at this point?
Let me do an absolute quick lookup, because range penalties are like my bane, my absolute bane. Why did these things not show? Oh, there it is. Okay. -4.
Is throw lightsaber enough of a force power that I can spend fatigue to get a bonus?
Yes.
I will spend another 2 fatigue, even though I definitely shouldn't do that. To reduce the penalty to a -2.
Valid.
That's the joy of disadvantages.
Ouch.
Missed by 3. You clip a rock very close to it.
Are we using that thing that we were looking at, or do I not get to move if I attacked?
I think that we are doing some somewhat wibbly non-tactical because it is running away and not attacking back, and therefore, effectively, you get to move.
I give chase.
Okay. We're in Theater of the Mind for giving chase. Its basic move is, not great. Let's see. I wish it had a thing for what happens. Give me just a moment to determine what its move. Return. It is at half move. double check what its normal move is. Yeah, it's at all right, I should make another one of these to see if it maintains consciousness. It does, because it has high health. Well, you catch up within a few seconds. You might want to grab your lightsaber as you go by or something.
Yeah, that is my intent. Sorry, I forgot to make the roll to see if I got it to return properly.
Okay, roll for that. Crit failure.
No,
Your lightsaber apparently cut through a rock, knocked itself so that it turned off and has bounced off into the rocks.
Fine, I'll look for it later.
You are closing in on a sort of gray-green, furry, small humanoid that is clutching at the horrible wound that is taking up about half of its middle and trying to escape.
Out of character, I feel so bad for this.
Out of character, it is a thing that decided to crawl in and start eating goats or whatnot, and space goats, which may or may not have been alive at the time. So, and it did throw a knife at you earlier.
After we picked it up, but still.
Oh, yeah.
And yes, I
Lightning!
spent a fatigue.
How much are you doing there?
I spent 1 fatigue, so presumably 2D.
Okay. Whole thing. I need to make a private. I'll just roll. It did not dodge. Roll your damage. You rolled how much? 4 damage?
Yep.
Okie dokie. Let me just record that on its little. Yeah. It falls over, and then just as you are thinking maybe it's dead, it sort of struggles to all fours, honestly, and continues to try to crawl away. It is attempting to shriek with little terrible heaf, heaf, heaf noises. Sometimes the horror is the PCs with Bloodlust. But hey, Sith.
Yeah.
Oh, there they are.
Yeah, this player isn't feeling very good about this either.
Oh.
I am going to tell you that, well, never mind. The GM does not mind, let's just say. Give me a vibes check on this. As in, okay, do you remember, you people ought to have on your, oh, Franz, I just lost the thing I got. On your character sheets, there should be a thing about the Force, empathic vibes, IQ -3. Sen and Ran can both do this if you're close enough to the critter.
I was following along because one, didn't want to leave Sen alone out here. Teamwork and everything. And 2, I was looking for the lightsaber that Sen threw. Do I find it and pick it up? I made a perception check by 2.
You can see where it bounced off to. You can go get it, yes.
Okay.
Can the
I'm
empathic
definitely doing it.
vibes thing be bought up as a skill?
You can buy it up a skill for it, but the vibes thing is just,
Also, is it intelligence or is it perception? Because, I mean, that's still a fail on me, but
probably should be perception, you're right. Vibes is perception, but I think I don't think Ran has a enhanced perception. Do you?
I don't think I do.
Nope. You do not. You can tell because see that little bracket next to your perception under secondary attributes? The bracket says 0. That means you have not bought extra perception. So it's based off your intelligence. Okay, since it's a vibes thing, which is int -3, that's not going to actually make it, you can attempt to do some sort of more direct telepathy thing if you want and have such a skill that is plausible, but otherwise, oh well, it's just being a nasty little creature that is reaping the results of snarking back at Sith. Tragic, really. Yeah, Ren doesn't have a plausible thing on that.
But I now have 2 lightsabers.
Indeed. You have 2 red lightsabers. And Tux is still off getting people into the thing. It's going to take a little bit since you have to help the other fellow who is also somewhat leg injured, sprained ankle. There are sort of shrieky noises coming closer from a distance. You know, it's like wolves howling, only a lot more shrill. Senone, do you want to try to finish it off with more lightning?
I think I was attempting to do things to it with teak, given that I am at half fatigue. But
And there's always just sort of punching it or something. Do you have brawling?
no.
Whoops.
I did succeed the teak roll, but probably not enough to do much of any damage.
Made by 3. What did I say the other one? 2d minus 5? Or did I say 4? I think it was minus 5, since Ran threw the rock at it.
You had me do 2d minus 5.
Yep, 2d6. Yeah, 2d minus 5. Do the 2d minus 5. That's probably about in the range of... Okay. You throw a rock, it grunts. It will, however, make it... It does not do... This is what happens. Oh, you threw the rock, and apparently you hit it in the head because it collapses.
It finally failed its HT roll, huh?
Bingo!
Right.
As a note, for other GMs who might be running GURPS, HT12 will succeed a lot of the time, including on death checks.
Or checks to avoid unconsciousness.
Or checks to avoid unconsciousness, which it was having to roll approximately every turn.
Yep, I don't think that was a death check, given that I don't think we did 24 points of damage to it.
You have not... No, that was not the death check. It has made a death check. That was a consciousness check.
Why has it made a death check?
Because you did 15 points of damage to it earlier, and then it has been hit with damage with lightning and with a rock.
I thought that you didn't start rolling death checks until -1x hit points.
I didn't say it had a lot of hit points. I said it had a high health.
And people ask me why I can't figure out the GURPS rules.
It used to be... Yes, you normally I'm just not bothering to swap the thing on NPCs. I'm just using what they are giving me because I can't be bothered.
Oh.
So effectively, it has reduced hit points.
Oh. Whoops.
It has fewer hit points than its health would assume. Well, actually, no. It has a lot of hit points. You people could it down to its first death check anyway.
Because I did 15 points of damage to it.
You did 15 points of damage to it.
By throwing a lightsaber.
It actually has more. Yeah.
Right. If you're done here, here's your lightsaber back. We should probably make sure Entuxa and the rest don't get torn to shreds.
Well, if this critter isn't dead by the time we get back, it can be dealt with then.
Indeed. And Rand starts heading back towards the train.
I am at least hoping the GM is willing to go with, well, there are other living enemies still.
Sense. Yes, you
Okay.
can leave it there. It collapsed. You're not. It is extremely wounded. You can go and stab it or cut its head off if you feel like it, or you can just leave it and figure that if it causes a problem, it's probably not going to be waking up soon.
Yeah.
Oh, right, I should have been. Never mind. Okay. So you herd everyone into the tipped over cargo thing. You probably have to shove a door open to climb in sideways, one of the side doors, I assume. And you can try to close it back up, although that's a little bit tricky, but it'll slide down probably. Yeah. And everyone is in there. It smells like broken alcoholic fumes. Whee! There's other assorted things, and you can hear the shrieking of approaching monster, humanoid, angry things. And with that, it's been a while. People are fading. We'll end off. This is Beth saying thank you for listening, and thank everybody for playing. Tonight we had Crash and Io and Ellie. And would anyone like to plug something? Tell me I'm not on mute.
I do believe that Io's mom will occasionally write books.
It has happened once or twice. And you can find them at elizabethmccoy.com. And if you have Kobo Plus, you can get nearly all of them. You can read them via Kobo Plus, and I still get paid, and you don't pay anything except your Kobo Plus subscription, which let you read all kinds of stuff anyway. You can ask your library to check and see if they're available as ebooks there. And there are plenty of ways to legally read books for not very much. You can even buy them. They're pretty cheap. And speaking of books, I assume? Well, speaking of things you can buy, speaking of support, speaking of things for free.
All of these things and more for the low, low price of whatever. RMBSmith.com is where I put all my stuff, all of these podcasts that we record, including Dungeons and Dragons and a bunch of one-shots at this point, can be found at rmbsmith.com/cogwheel. Share them with your friends. And if you really like them, you can help us keep the lights on by joining our Patreon, patreon.com/cogwheelgaming. And by doing so, you join other illustrious patrons, including Ellie, Shanshan, Walter, and patron emeritus Cindy.
Until next time, this is Beth going, no, really, I'm not sure you should feel bad for these critters. I mean, you can if you want to, but that's fine now. Also, they're shrieking, and if you could translate it, it would probably be something about eating your hearts. So, good night, everyone. Have a happy... Well, I am adapting a horror game here. Have a good weekend. Night.
Good night.
Good night.
Night. Sorry to...